Hello there guys, and welcome to another one of my real life range tests. Today we are going to experiment with the brand new Cupra Born, which is basically a fresh offering from the VAG group, but not exactly a completely new car because it is built on the same platform as the ID3, and you might notice a couple of very familiar things about it. But today we are going to talk about its specs and take it for a spin to see what kind of energy consumption figures you can expect from it, especially in a very cold climate and in one of the busiest cities in the world during holiday season. So let's start our real life range test right now. So this is the car. This is a Cupra Born, and it's quite a rare sighting on public roads so far because Volkswagen decided to take its time with it. I mean, Cupra decided to take its time with it and launch it at the right time. But it does look really good, even though some of the areas of this car will remind you of the ID3, and that's natural. Both cars are built on the same MEB platform, but there are a number of details that are completely different on these cars. We won't talk about them today. We're just focusing on the efficiency of the car, its specs, and how much range you can expect from it. So there are a couple of models you can choose from. You can get a 58 kilowatt hour battery under the floor, or you can get a 77 kilowatt hour battery on this car. We have the 58 kilowatt hour battery over here, and that means the range should be just a bit over 400 kilometers with a single charge. Also, in terms of power, you have a number of choices available on the board. This is the 204 horsepower version, and it is a rear wheel drive only model. Looks really good, and I'm really curious to see how this car will handle. For all purposes, I have to mention the fact that the wheels are using Goodyear efficient tires, even though it's really cold out. So we're not running on winter tires as we should probably be doing right now. And these are 19-inch wheels, and they can range from 18 to 20 inch on the Cupra Born. So we're using 19-inch wheels and Goodyear efficient tires. So the results shouldn't be drastically impacted by the size of the wheels or the tires used. But I really like the way this car looks in the back. Look at it, really nicely. Let's take a look at the interior as well. Yeah, looks really good. And now it's time to talk about some specific things about this car. So I already drove it up to this filming location, and I already have some numbers for you guys. So since I got the car this morning and I unplugged it from the charger, the average energy consumption was 25.6 kilowatt hours, and the average speed was 16 kilometers an hour, and I covered already 26 kilometers. But I will keep driving this car around town up to 100 kilometers to see the real life energy consumption figures. Right now things aren't looking that great, about 230 kilometers of range, but I expect the numbers to get better once the average speed increases. So yeah, that's what we're looking at right now. After that, if you've watched one of my real life range tests before, you know that I'm going to take this car outside the city limits on a series of B roads and then on the highway to see what kind of numbers we get at highway speeds and on regular B road sections. So stay tuned. We'll do an update once the inner city test is done, and then we're gonna go outside the city to test the range in those other scenarios as well. Stay tuned. So welcome to day 2 of testing the real life range of the Cupra Born, and let's take a look at the results we got. As you can see, I covered 106 kilometers with the car so far at an average speed of 17 kilometers an hour, and the energy consumption was 23.4 kilowatt hours. I have to make a couple of mentions. The weather was terrible, negative temperatures all around, and the traffic was horrific. So that's why I have such a low average speed. That said, in these, I would consider these like worst case scenarios. This is like a worst case scenario test result. I think 250 kilometers would be achievable, quite far from the 400 Cupra mentions, but this is, as I said, this is a worst case scenario. Now we're gonna hop on a series of B roads, then on the highway to see how the car handles. We just finished the B road section of our real life range test with the Cupra Born. Let's take a look at the results. As you can see, I covered nearly 50 kilometers with an average speed of 64 kilometers an hour, and the average energy consumption was 15.1 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers covered. Now that's a lot better than the inner city result. And considering the car has a usable battery capacity of 58 kilowatt hours, that means you should probably get around 380 kilometers of range at this pace. Now I have to mention that the exterior temperature is still pretty low. It is a bit better than yesterday around town. When I saw freezing temperature, it was actually snowing at some point. Today we're looking at 7 degrees Celsius, but it's still pretty cold, and we are running on efficient tires. That's also a mention I have to make. I also didn't cut back on any creature comforts. The AC was kept at 20 degrees Celsius, so this should be a realistic energy consumption figure at this kind of at this rate, at this speed. So what I'm gonna do now is hop on the highway, keep it at above 120 kilometers an hour, 120, 130, we'll see, and get back to you with the results on the highway. Stay tuned. Okay, so we finished the highway section of our test drive. Let's take a look at the numbers before the average speed drops too much. So I covered 50 kilometers, almost 50 kilometers, but the average speed dropped a lot after I pulled over in order to film this video. The average energy consumption didn't drop that much, so it was around 22, 23 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers covered. The exterior temperature didn't change a lot, and I also kept the AC at 20 degrees Celsius, so I didn't cut back on anything. You can see here that the exterior temperature is 7 degrees Celsius. That said, you could probably cover about 280 kilometers on the highway at highway speeds with this car during winter time, which is not bad at all. To recap, I saw an average of 23 kilowatt hours around town in terrible conditions. So outside on a couple of B roads, 15 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers covered, and then on the highway up to 22, 23 again. The numbers will be found in a link posted in this video's description, where I have all the figures of all my range tests done today, up to date, including the ID3 to compare the Cupra Born to the ID3. And you guys can check them out in the description. As I said, it's a spreadsheet with all the numbers. That said, I hope you enjoyed my real life range test. Until next time, don't forget to like, share, and of course subscribe to keep this channel alive. Ciao.